Welcome to the very first episode of Two Robs and a Mic, brought to you by Summit Gear, the best outdoor gear store in the Blue Mountains. My name's Robert Inshaw, I'm the owner of Summit Gear, and Summit Gear focuses on run, hike, climb, and this podcast is going to cover everything to do with the trail running community in the Blue Mountains area. So if it's trail running, it's happening between the Nepean River, down at Penrith, and Mount Canobolas up in Orange. We're going to have it covered on Two Robs and a Mic. And with me, my co-conspirators is Rob Philpott and Mike Dunstan. What we're going to do, Summit Gear has another initiative, which is our trail running club. And we're going to be doing different long runs on the weekends, exploring different parts of the Upper Blue Mountains. Everyone is invited to join us on that. We'll be combining some of those runs with this podcast, but then we'll also be integrating that with guest speakers, race events coming up, race results, and pretty much anything to do with the trail running community. We're so lucky to live up here in the Blue Mountains, which has some of the best trail running in all of Australia. All three of us are pretty passionate trail runners, and we thought this is a great opportunity to sort of bring that community together and provide this podcast as a central point to bring everything together on the trail running community in the Blue Mountains. We'll also be using the opportunity, leaning on suppliers to get some product that we can do gear reviews with. We'll put a slant on it and talk specifically about how it applies to a lot of the different trails and the types of running that we get up here in the Blue Mountains. All right, so let's find out a little bit more about the two colleagues here. We'll start with you, Rob. Welcome to Two Robs and a Mic. Tell us a little bit about your history with trail running and the Blue Mountains.
Sure. Thanks. My first trail run was Wheelie to Billy on the other side of Felsliner Road. I did that as a qualifier to get into 6 foot. So I did that in 2006, first 6 foot in 2007. I've been trying to race that every year ever since. And just, enjoying that sort of distance, and then moved up, did the first North Face 100 in 2008, and just kept going with longer and longer events. And now I've done a couple of milers and some 24-hour races and 24-hour social events that have been lots of fun. So,
and what would you be the trail running event that you're most proud of?
I think you'd expect me to say Blue Goat up at Mount Victoria, just because
there's a great little event up in Mount Vic done by Tony Williams.
Tony Williams, yeah, absolutely, in Blue Mountains Fitness. So it is a really special event in a really special location, and I've just been really consistent with that and had good results.
So this is more like a backyard.
It is a backyard ultra.
Yeah.
Oh, there are shorter distances, like there's a marathon, there's a half marathon, there's a 10K event as well. But yeah, I just entered the backyard ultra, round and round.
Just punishment.
Yeah, but well, it's a special type of racing. Enjoyable to get to sit down every hour.
Yeah.
But I think the race that I'm most proud of would have to be last year's Tarawera miler. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I just was really dialed in for that. Did the training and the strength work that I needed to, and just had a really great day and night.
Morning. Awesome. All right. Okay, what time? Now, I do notice you've actually got a boot on your foot because you've broken a bone in your foot, but assuming you hadn't done that, what do you reckon you could do a flat 5K in at the moment?
Oh, at the moment, yeah, excusing the broken foot, I probably would struggle to get under 25, but when I'm in good shape, I'd hope to get under 21. Yeah, I haven't cracked 20 minutes though. Yeah.
Awesome. And what would be your favourite run in the Blue Mountains?
Oh, there's so many to choose from, but I would say the Mount Solitary Loop from QVH, going up over Mount Sol is really special. It includes Federal Pass, normally, or it used to include Landslide, and that section, which is really cool. Start with a big downhill down Kadumba Pass. Unfortunately, you finish with the big uphill up Kadumba Pass.
It's a tough run.
But I think it's just got something of everything there, and includes going over Mount Solitary, which not a lot of people get to do.
Yeah,
so,
it's pretty special.
Yeah, that's my favourite run in the mountains.
Awesome. And Mike, over to you. So again, same questions. What's your history with trail running? When did you start? And how long have you been up here in the Blue Mountains?
Yeah, I started trail running. Well, I started running first, probably during the COVID period. Bit cliche, but I made a bet with a good friend of mine um, to stop drinking for a year, which
Yeah.
was pretty outlandish considering how much beer we did consume pre that. And yeah, I guess it freed up a lot of time, and there wasn't going to be much else to do, so started running again and loved it. My dad used to have like a little run club in northern and western Australia where I grew up, so used to run a couple times a week. But yeah, I got real hooked again, and then trail run. My first one was back in WA. The friend took me out to the hills one day, and it blew my mind. It almost injured me too, but it was so much fun. I guess I didn't realize you could do it in such a peaceful place and kind of combine running and fitness with a really nice experience in nature. So from then on, I was in.
And okay, so what trail running event are you most proud of?
Uh well, when we did a draft run of this, I said Snowdonia.
Yeah.
And I ummed and ahed what I thought about it a bit more, but I think it was.
So this is a UTMB event in Wales.
Yep. So just May just gone, 100 miles with 10,000 meters of climbing, and I trained really hard for it, and thought I was training on the really technical stuff here, like Lockleys and yeah, Eastern Solitary and things like that. Gone. Surely, if I just rep these, I'll be well equipped. And I got over there and did a recce of a couple bits of the course, which I later found out were the easy parts of the course.
Right.
And I was pretty daunted. I was like, oh wow, like
Mm.
this is going to be a huge outing. And I pretty much knew that nothing was guaranteed. I was like, wow, like good training block, but this place is pretty brutal. And yeah, injured my foot about a week before. Like I subluxed my cuboid, so it pushed out of place. And then I ran the road in taper, hoping it would come good. And yeah, it just challenged me in ways I didn't know you could be challenged mentally and physically. And so to finish it was a bonus. Because
You finished in style.
luckily, yeah, yeah.
So tell us what'd you come?
Ah, very awkward. I was lucky to come third, which was a big goal of mine to try qualify
Yes.
for UTMB next year. So I was very chuffed, but yeah, it was just good to get through that course. It was nuts.
That's super impressive. And I've got to say, because you're a modest guy, I can do this for you. But before then, you did the Grampians Ultra
I did.
and you won that. So you've gone from the pub to winning events in record time. So yeah, it's certainly very impressive. So yeah, awesome. And what would be your favorite run in the Blue Mountains?
My favorite run would have to be Paris to Lockley's return. I just think, yeah, the
Yeah.
perspective you get from, I mean, it's only 5Ks from Paris to Lockley's,
Mm.
but obviously, just I guess the vertical gain, and you look over to where you came from and you go, wow, it looks like you can almost reach out and touch it, but it takes you an hour to get from each of them. So it's just awesome climbing and
Yeah.
feels pretty special out
And
there.
there's some great technical running coming down Lockleys. Like,
Yeah.
it's just it's fun, but it's yeah, you got to have your wits about you for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well done.
What about you, Rob?
Yeah.
Me.
Tell us about your
Okay, so
introduction to trail running.
when did I start trail running? Probably like I would think in 2015 would really be like I'd run a little bit beforehand. I'd done some sprint triathlons when I was younger, but 2015 I actually bought Summit gear that year, and I kind of thought I could run a little bit, so. Um, I'd had an injury that had kept me out of running for quite a few years, and somehow it just evaporated. It had been a sort of more of a chronic knee thing, and it just disappeared. And so I signed up for UTA 22 in 2015, and I didn't even know if I could make 22 kilometers. But I started training for it, and then I got past 5 kilometers and 9 kilometers. The injury was fine; it didn't flare up at all. And then it just sort of went from there. And so that was my very first effort, was the UTA 22. Yeah, so that was probably the introduction, and I did the normal progression where you start at the 22, and then you go, well, maybe I could do the 50, and then did a couple of goes at the 50, and then decided, yeah, maybe I'll do the 100. And then I thought anything beyond that is just stupid. So why would anyone bother?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It is pretty stupid.
Yeah, that was my mentality.
All right. So, in answering the next question, what trail running event are you most proud of?
So it's probably a little cliche, but it is a highlight of my life. And so after coming to the conclusion that running beyond 100 kilometres is stupid, I was over in Chamonix when UTMB was finishing in 2022. My partner Helen said to me, she said, "Oh, you should do it." And I was like, "No, stupid distance." But it kind of stuck in my head, and it grew from there. We were over there doing some climbing and stuff, and then I just thought, well, maybe I'll just throw in an entry. Like, there's no chance I'll get in. So I threw in an entry, sure enough, straight up, and then I got into the race. And so, yeah, that was it was such a highlight. My goal was first just to finish. I thought there's probably not another chance I'll get over and do this race again. And a second goal was to get it under 40 hours. So I ended up doing 37 and a half hours, which I was super happy with. And just it was just such a highlight. You know, you've got running into all the towns, people cheering you. Just the Alps are so beautiful. It was my first miler. So yeah, it was just amazing. So
It's the
yeah,
biggest
loved
show
it.
in trail running in the world.
Yeah, lined up with all the elite athletes and didn't see them at all.
All right. So, talking about shorter distances,
Mm.
then, what time could you do a flat 5K?
Flat 5K. Look, I training for UTMB last year. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I was training for UTMB, I did a park run down at the ponds in Sydney, which is pretty flat, and I did that in 1850 something, 18 minutes 50, and that's probably about as good as I could do, I reckon. Yeah, so that's that'd be it has to be pretty damn flat for me to get anywhere near that.
Even if you put on some carbon plates.
No, I didn't have carbon plates. I just had regular trail running shoes, actually.
So plate adjusted like 15.
Maybe.
What's your favourite run in the Blue Mountains?
Yeah, my favourite run is one that's not as well known. So I live in Lura, and behind the Fairmont, there's some trails. I think it's called Roberts Pass and Lindeman's Pass, and then Gladstone Pass, and it's actually closed at the moment, so you can't go there. But it's really spectacular running. It's right along the cliff edge. There's a bit of landslide stuff you have to hobble over, but you end up coming up these canyons, and it's like a whole lost world in there, and you feel so remote. But you're like within a couple of kilometres of the Fairmont and Lura and all that sort of stuff, and it's just yeah, it's about a 5K loop, but it's technical, it's tough, but it's beautiful, and I love going through there. So as soon as that opens up, I'm looking forward to getting back out there.
Will be long enough for us to do as the Summit Gear Run Club?
Yeah, we could certainly weave it into a long run along the cliff tops down to Wentworth Falls. Maybe have a coffee at the conservation hut, and then we can finish off by looping through that run, which would be pretty special for those that want to do it. Yeah.
So I just realised that we never asked you about your 5K flat time.
There's no
Do you ever run flat?
Look, there's no flat up here. I think the flattest 5K you could do would have 100 or something.
You got to go searching for it, that's for sure.
We were chatting about this the other day about 5K and 10K times, and realising that if you'd sacrifice running all the good trails up here, so may never do it. But I would hope, maybe it's ambitious, but I honestly have no idea. But I'd hope to be able to do like something around 15, but not sure.
Yeah,
I could be.
nice.
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
Oh, we'll have to test it out.
Yeah, that's right.
There's an episode. Mike breaks 15 minutes.
Wow.
Well, it's a handicap, so I'll start 10 minutes faster.
That's right.
Is that 10?
7 minutes.
I'd have to cancel all race plans and just start 5K training now.
Yeah, awesome. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the things that we're going to do is have a special guest onto the podcast from time to time. We're going to be looking to have coaches, nutritionists, athletes, local heroes, any person that sits in that category. And so there's some exciting news happening down in Lawson with Lewis Squadrito, who's a well-known coach in the Blue Mountains. And he's opening up a gym called The Lab that's going to be all about training athletes with the right mechanics and strength training and recovery. So to hear more about that, Here's Lewis Quadrito and the Lab. For our first guest on Two Robs and a Mic, we have Lewis Quadrito, who is the head coach and founder of LabFit by LSPT. And Lewis, you specialise in sports training, strengthening, conditioning, biomechanics. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and when you started in the Blue Mountains?
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Rob. First, I want to say thanks for having me on. This is definitely a privilege. I've never done anything like this before. So essentially, my niche in the industry as a running coach and a strength conditioning coach is mostly focused around biomechanics, as you said, which is all about looking at how people move, how they run, how they may get injured due to their mechanics, and how to get around that and get the best performance out of them possible.
Okay. And so you train a wide range of athletes? Do you focus more on high-end athletes, or do you cover a full spectrum of
Yeah,
of
good
athletes?
question. I've definitely got a full spectrum. My kind of top tier runners are high level national runners, running in for New South Wales, so representing at nationals for track and road racing. And then I've also got the complete other end of the spectrum of people trying to break out of injury cycles who are chronically injured due to mechanical misuse and all of those sorts of issues. And then I've got people, my youngest athlete is an 8-year-old, my oldest athlete is 84.
Demographic.
Yeah, big, wide demographic.
Well,
So, Lewis, have you always lived in the mountains?
Yep, I'm born and bred in the mountains. I've lived in Wentworth Falls most of my life. I was in Katoomba for about a year and then Bullaburra for a year, and now I'm back in Wenty again. So definitely upper mountains, bred and born.
and are you a runner yourself, Lewis?
Yeah, I have been. So I started in the Little A system. I think I was probably 6 or 7. Started out racing mostly 800s and 1500s. Quite quickly moved up in distance. Ended up racing mostly 10Ks, and then as a young adult went into half marathons. And then had a few setbacks myself with some injuries, hence the specialty of going into looking at mechanics, because a lot of my injuries were mechanical in nature. And I found that it was very difficult to find someone who could help me get out of that hole, so I had to do it myself.
Yeah, right. So tell us a little bit about that. What were the natures of the injuries, and how'd you get out of the hole?
Yeah, good question. So loads of different things. I've had lots of Achilles blow-ups and issues like that, high hamstring tendinosis. A lot of those issues are coming down to how your body puts force into the ground, and if you put force in the wrong direction or using the wrong structure to produce force in the first place, then you're loading up structures for jobs that they're not responsible for. So a lot of it came down to actually relearning my motor patterns, going back to basics, actually starting with looking at the way that I walked, fixing that, and then gradually ramping that up to fixing the way that I ran, then eventually the way that I sprint.
Yeah, right. Right. And so I guess big news, and I did get a sneak peek of it the other week, but you're opening up the lab. So this is a new gym plus other things. I'll let you tell more about it, based in Lawson. So yeah, tell us a bit about the lab.
Yeah, so the lab is my one-stop shop for all things to do with sports and performance. So we're looking at, as I said, that wide range of spectrum, going from people that are chronically injured and can't quite find a way out of it, all the way up to the semi-professional and professional level. My idea was to take things that are generally exclusive to the professional athlete culture, people that have large budgets and sponsors. A lot of athletes that are at that level have their sponsors pay for their coaching and their training. So the mission is to take all of the services you would get as a professional athlete and provide it to the wider running community. So we've got a big state-of-the-art gym, which you can see getting constructed behind me here. So we've got a power rack in the middle, lots of plates. There's a few benches just off to the side here with some dumbbells. And then all of that area down the back that doesn't have anything in it yet is going to be more of a recovery center. So we'll have a little lab put in there, which is for blood lactate testing, a VO2 chamber. We're getting a sauna in a couple of weeks and a cold plunge put in as well. And I've got Michael Kelly, who's a remedial massage therapist who works for Penrith Panthers, set up in the room next door. And yeah, it's all unfolding. There's more to come, but that's what I've got so far.
And so is this gym open to anyone, or is it just to your athletes?
Right now,
How's
it's
that
just
work?
to my right now it's
Yep.
just to my athletes. The gym officially opens on the 24th of August, so that's about 10 days away from the time that we're recording this. And that
Yep.
launch will be on a Saturday, and it's from 2 till 6 p.m. The address is 23 Cascade Street for anyone who wants to rock up and have a look at what we're doing. The flyers
That's
all
Cascade
over
Street in
social
Lawson.
medias. Yeah, 23
Yeah.
Cascade Street, Lawson. That's the one. And
Yeah,
then once
awesome.
the gym opens, essentially there'll be different tiers of memberships that people can get. The most basic membership will be for those that don't necessarily want me directly coaching them, but want a little bit of advice here and there. Come in, use the gear, have a little bit of a chat when both people, me and that client, are here. And then there'll be memberships going all the way up to full-time coached athletes.
Yeah, so for, I guess, a trail runner who's been struggling with any injuries or niggles, any roadblock to getting consistent training in, from your experience in what you do, what would be some good, simple advice that you could offer them?
Good questions. The short answer is there isn't simple advice, right? Everyone's injuries come down to different reasons, usually multifactorial. Sometimes it's not even anything to do with the running that you're doing, it's everything outside of running. So, like, you may run for an hour a day, there's 23 other hours where you may be doing something that's more causing something, and running's more correlative. But for people that are getting injured, definitely from running, and running is the main source of it, I'd be looking into what the mechanism of the injury itself is. So as I'd mentioned before, I've struggled with high hamstring issues on and off over the years, not so much the last few years, but one of the big things for me was figuring out what the mechanism was for that hamstring injury. So essentially when your leg interacts with the ground, and that moment that your foot first contacts the ground, if your foot's too far in front of your center of mass, which is what we often refer to as overstriding, your hamstring works as a lever to correct that position and move your center of mass forward over the leg before it can properly put force down into the ground. So for me, trying to run at paces that I wasn't really ready to run and I wasn't strong enough to be running at the time, my hamstring was working overtime to try to correct that little misuse. And then part of the rehab that I had to do for that to still keep myself running but not load the hamstring as much was actually do a lot more volume on hills. So the reason for that is when you're landing and you land on a hill, your knee is significantly more bent compared to when you land on flat ground. And the more bent your knee is, the more that force will transfer up into the glute as opposed to the hamstring. So as I became more efficient at running up hills and gradually reduced the incline back to being flat and moved at faster speeds again while correcting my mechanics to not necessarily land directly under the hips, but definitely closer, that offloaded the hamstring. So rather than thinking of it as an overuse injury, it was more a misuse injury.
Great. So you're telling us all to do more heel repeats.
Yeah, possibly. Depends on the person. There's hills can come with issues as well. Yeah, if you're someone who's struggling with major Achilles issues, I wouldn't be saying go run up a whole bunch of hills. So yeah, grain of
Good.
salt. Take
So
that with.
maybe, yeah, a question I've got is like, so there's a lot of people that come in to the shop here at Summit Gear. Um, they're kind of been doing 10, 15 kilometers and they're starting to move into that, looking at the 50K events and those sort of things. What's your best advice for someone that is done a bit of running but is actually planning to do, enter a longer, like a 50K race in terms of what they should do to go about starting their preparation?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. That's a question I get a lot from new athletes coming in under my wing. The main piece of advice I'd give them is however long they think they need to get ready for it, double it. So a lot of people are signing up for these events not grasping the gravity of what they're doing, going and running 50K or 100K and going, oh yeah, 4 months. I'll get there pretty
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
And usually it takes a lot longer, right? If you can make the gains a bit more steady, go a little bit slower, progress by smaller increments over a longer duration, then when you actually get to race day, you'll be far more prepared than if you try to jump the gun a bit, go, 15K long run the week after, oh, we'll go 20, week after that, we'll go 25, and just continually jump up. So like build your competency over that 15 to 20K distance. Only once that's not invasive anymore, then jump up to 20 to 25 and do it in a really slow, stable, gradual way. Because the last thing you want to
Yeah.
do is get to a point where you're ramping it up super quick, get injured, don't compete in the first place.
And that's exactly right. I mean, like it takes years actually to get the sort of
Absolutely. Yeah.
strength and I guess the experience to be able to do some of these events quite well. So
And it's also
yeah,
the
people
recovery.
thinking, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, people underestimate how long it takes to recover from these sorts of events, both when you're doing the event, but also the training for it. Like if you're going out and you're handling a 20K long run, but it's taking you 4 or 5 days to recover from it, you've just wasted 4 or 5 potential training days. That if you did that little bit less in the long run, then your global volume will be a bit higher because you were training that 4 days after it.
And I presume you'd be advising lots of easy runs.
Possibly depends on the athlete, but generally, if you're someone who's there's It's very hard to give general advice. But yeah,
No,
if you're someone
fair
who's
enough.
coming from a background of not having done a lot, my sequence that I work with my athletes, which has proven pretty effective, I don't have a lot of injured runners under my wing, is
Mm.
first mechanics. So sometimes if someone comes in for training and they're willing to take longer to actually get the result they want and not rush to it, I might go, I'm not even really going to coach you to run straight away. I'll coach you to lift and move correctly generally, then start moving correctly in a specific manner to running, then get you to actually start running. And then from there, we're just plugging up a lot of the holes that are kind of come out later when you're training.
Mm.
And that may take a month or two. Like it's not necessarily going to be a quick, or we'll do a week in the gym and then you can go start running heaps. For some people, it takes a little bit longer than that. Yeah, start with all of the work to move correctly, be stable, do all the restorative work, make sure your body functions the way we need it to. From there, I'd actually go have movement efficacy for sprinting. So if you can sprint well, you can jog well. If you can jog well,
Okay.
then that's good. But then when you start moving a little bit quicker, naturally down the track, you're going to get faster. If you haven't built the efficiency to be able to do that early on, same thing, eventually you're going to hurt yourself. So I'd go
Yeah.
mechanics first, then generally have some kind of capacity to move quickly, whether it's 400s or 800s or a little 100-meter stride or whatever, but be competent with that. After that, start building into the long stuff. So it's almost
Yeah.
the opposite of your traditional Lydiard style of going long first, then hill
Mm.
bounding, then speed work, then race, which is
Yeah.
reliable from a fitness point of view, but not overly reliable from a mechanical standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Nice. So the launch is the 24th, Saturday the 24th at 2 p.m. was it? 2 p.m.
Yep, 2 till 6.
2 till 6.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the full lab. So people that are interested can rock up. Just give us the address again.
23 Cascade Street, Lawson.
Yeah, awesome.
Can you tell us about your very first trail run?
Ooh, my very first trail run. Can't tell you my very first one, but I can tell you a good story. People like
Yeah,
stories.
we're all ears.
Yeah, I can't remember my first one. I was a little kid. But in 2018, I went in the UTA 22. So we all know UTA 22, big run in Katoomba. And I had appendicitis, which is nasty. Yeah, ran 22 Ks with appendicitis, which was possibly the worst pain I've ever had and not a very fun experience. Got to the finish line, grabbed my finisher's medal, and then straight off to hospital and had a surgery 30 hours later.
Did you know you had appendicitis prior to
So
towing
on
along?
the bus out to QVH, I had a general little stomach ache, a bit of pain down the right hip. And on the bus, I was going, just going to have a bad run. Stomach's a bit sore. And then on my way down Kidumba, the impact of running on that hill every step was gradually getting worse. And when I was pretty certain it was appendicitis, I was like halfway. So my options were go forward to the finish or turn around and run back up Kidumba and
Go
finish
back
that
up
way. Either
Kidumba.
way, not good option. And then the other thought in the
Yeah.
back of my head was if it's popped, then I don't have a lot of time to kind of get aid. So I better keep running because stopping at an aid station would probably have taken longer.
Well, that sounds most unpleasant.
Yeah, it sucked. Not a good
Yeah,
time.
thanks for that.
Yeah, no
No.
worries.
All right. Well, thanks, Lewis. Good luck with the lab and the opening. I'll see you there. And
Excellent.
see you on the trails.
Cool. Thanks very much, Rob. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Talking about local news and the events we've had in the Blue Mountains trail running community. So at the beginning of the month, we had the inaugural Burralow Bush Run that was held on Sunday, the 4th of August. It was a collaboration between Running Wild New South Wales and Hawkesbury Trail Runners. By all accounts, it was a fantastic event. A couple of things really jumped out at me about this event. Well, obviously, besides the fact that it's the kickoff for the Running Wild Season 15. One is how good is it to have a trail race over at Bilpin again? As I said, my first introduction to trail running was the Willie to Billy, which was, I think, a 34K race back then or a 33. Yeah, and that's been shut down for many years. And so it was fantastic to have a race over in Bilpin and on those trails and fire trails again. The other thing that really came out to me in looking at the results was a sense of family, and I'll just run through some of the results, and then you'll see what I mean. So they had 3 events. They had the 34K Billy to Bomo, Bomo being Bowen Mountain. They had a 16-kilometre Devil's Dash and a 1.5-kilometre kids race. So in the 34K, Emily Brunt was first female. La Sportiva athlete Jill Fowler came in second, and Leah Saunders is in third. Well-known Blue Mountains runner Benny St. Lawrence took the win in the 34 men's, with previous 6-foot champion Alex Matthews coming in second, and Sean Brunt coming in third. So a couple of Brunts there on the podium. In the Devil's Dash, Ronan McNally took the win. An under-21 runner, Joshua Simone, came in second, with Braylon Renton coming in third. Good friend of the store, Wes Gibson, came in fourth. And Anthony Simone, I'm assuming is related to Joshua Simone, came in sixth, so it looks like Josh has the bragging rights until the next race. Leah Anderton came in, another under-21 runner, came in first female, and Jacob Anderton crossed the line 40 seconds later, so another family affair there. Cecily Butler came in second, female, and our favourite graphic designer here at Summit Gear, Kelly Gibson, came in third. So yeah, across all of 3 races, there was a really strong family presence, which is awesome to see. And this was really evident in the kids' race as well. So we had 4 walkers, Luke, who took the win, Elise, Charlotte and Ezekiel, all finishing in the top 10. As we had Billy and Amelia Dunn also finishing up there as well. Also on the same Sunday morning, as it is on the first Sunday of every month, was the Blue Mountains Joggers Handicap Race down at Falconbridge. Lee Shakespeare and Lou Clifton took line honours in the 10K, but Dicop took out the win via handicap. Margaret Bowen and Peter Barnes aced the 5K, with Margaret taking out the favour of the handicapper and taking the win there on the handicapped. Lastly, as we're recording this on Wednesday, the 14th of August, we don't have the results of the Running Wild Glenbrook Trail Marathon, but by the time this podcast goes live, it'll have been run. We will have the results next pod, but I can guarantee that will be another awesome event by the Running Wild team.
So for those that aren't familiar with Running Wild, they're a non-profit. They have 7 different events throughout the year, 7 or 8.
Right.
9 events throughout the year. Each one's very unique. It's very different, and just really well organised. Just good community trail running events. They're not too expensive, so if you haven't had a look, check out Running Wild New South Wales. And they've got, I think there's, you sign up as a member, and then the cost of all the events become a fair bit cheaper, and it's just great to be part of an awesome community event like that.
Running Wild also has the Kadumba half marathon. That's going to be run on the 8th of September, so it's not too far away. So get your entry in now if you can.
Awesome. And I guess what I mentioned before is we're looking to have local heroes on the podcast, and there's definitely one that comes to mind right now, and that's Gavin Clifton, who has organised the Firies Stair Climb at Firies Stairs. It's an annual fundraising event that he has driven and made happen, and it's got bigger and bigger every year. It's to raise funds for motor neurone disease, and it's a fantastic cause. And that's coming up on the 30th and
Friday the 30th and Saturday the 31st.
So it's a 24-hour. So Gavin's going to be doing for 24 hours laps of Further Stairs. So the whole running community should come and support him. Let's go do some laps with him, and certainly look to. We'll post some links that you can donate and raise some funds, and certainly it's for a fantastic cause. I went to an event earlier this year, motor neurone, and the amount of research that's happening here in Australia is phenomenal, and some of the learnings and insights that they're getting is very encouraging. So get behind it and come join us on the stair climb with Gav Clifton, and we'll have Gav come onto the podcast shortly.
So we'll see you at Scenic World. There'll be a bit of an event hub there. So.
Yeah,
free to register.
You don't have to register. Just really turn up, make a donation, come and do some laps.
Sounds
give him
good.
some encouragement. Well, welcome, Gav, to you're actually our second special guest on the very first episode of Two Robs and a Mic.
Hello, Two Robs and a Mic. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So you might notice we've lost a mic, but we've got the two
two
Robs.
Robs.
So Well, you got the stair climb coming up. Give us a bit of details about when it is this year.
So this year for the Firies Stair Climb for MND will take place at Scenic World again on Friday the 30th of August and Saturday the 31st of August with varying distances that people can be involved in. Some of us will be starting at midday on the Friday, attempting to climb for 24 hours non-stop till midday Saturday to raise as much money as we can for MND. On the Saturday morning, there'll be the down once and the up once, similar to the Sydney Tower climb when we used to do that. Which takes in 1,900 steps for folks. They can just do that. They can do once, they can do twice, they can do 3 times, whatever distance you're comfortable with over the course of the 24 hours that we're here. And at 11 o'clock on the Saturday, we've got a kids climb this year, so we're getting the kids involved at that last little pinch where you turn left to go up to the boardwalk, and the last section of Firies Stairs that we all whinge and complain about and cramp on when we're doing UTA 150, and all the varying distances, and that'll be their little climb. And then we all finish at midday on the Saturday together. Hopefully, we've all raised about $100,000 over the course of the weekend, if possible.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm planning to join you on the Friday. Unfortunately, I have to work on the Saturday, so I'll start with you on Friday, and we'll go for as long as we can, bearing in mind.
How many reps are we talking, Rob?
Well, I don't know, what is it, half an hour for a rep? It's up and down, is it? 30 minutes to do a lap? Down and up?
About 35, 40.
35, 40?
Well, last year I did 26 and a half, so if you can beat that,
20 reps?
that'd be good. Yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to do that, but
And at the end of that,
because I have to work the next day, that's the only reason, you know.
Okay, correct. Well, and I must say, look, at the end of the 26 and a half that he did the other year, he was only just starting to warm up too, Robs. He was just, his legs were just getting loose.
He's got those last man standing legs in him, so...
He's a scary man on the stairs, Rob Philpott, I tell you. He goes all right.
Just hang on, Gav. We're just going to pause. It's just going to keep recording, but my battery's running low. So
Okay.
Let me go grab my charger.
Yeah, okay. Can I rest my arms for a minute? I've got biceps like Arnie Schwarzenegger.
Only one.
Oh, that's so much more comfortable. Where were we, gentlemen?
Get rolling.
So, Gav, where are you right now? For those less educated, where are you right now?
I'm at the top of the Firies Stairs. I'll just do a quick little swing around if people can see that. So that's the boardwalk and the top of the stairs there where we go up to Scenic World. And I'm just about to start doing some stair reps this evening into the dark and just continue conditioning the legs and the body and trying to just try and continue to gain some strength and have a bit of fun and just enjoy it all. I do love the Firies Stairs, I must say, as you both know.
951 stairs of pure joy.
Pure joy, mate. Stairs are fun. Who loves stairs?
Yeah. And you were kind enough to invite me down to the MMD event down in Sydney, probably about 6 weeks ago, I think. And it was amazing to hear what all the researchers, what the Australian researchers are doing around MMD. I mean, it's such an insidious disease. Tell us a little bit about what you learnt that night in terms of where the research is going and in terms of trying to either find a cure or a cause for this disease.
I sort of feel like the more attention that MND, that's probably the biggest focus of all of these climbs and these fundraisers that we do, is primarily to gain attention for MND. And every time you come out of the MND Gala Ball or every time you walk away from a climb, you're encouraged by the fact that these fundraisers, the money that we raise for these fundraisers, are having an impact, and they're identifying traits of the disease and how they can break it down and where they can work things. It's quite incredible. The people at Macquarie University are absolute geniuses. Obviously spearheaded by Professor Dom and Kelly and just some of the people there. And the medical unit there, they are absolutely incredible. The genetics that they're looking into, and it's phenomenal what they're doing down there. And I guess that spurs a lot of us on to continue doing what we do to help aid them in that and fund them in that. And we're blessed to be fit and healthy and to be able to run up and down the stairs with low heart rates and all that sort of stuff. But it could happen to me. It could happen to one of the two of you tomorrow. We just don't know. And that's the scary thing about this disease and the fact that there is no cure. It's going to take us pretty quick. So, the more we do, the more funding we can raise, the more we can create, awareness for this disease, I think the better.
Yeah. I had a colleague not that long ago who contracted MMD and he died pretty quick. It took about 18 months.
It doesn't
But he
take
did
long.
say, yeah, it depends on the individual, but he did say to me, he said, Robert, this is just it just slowly strips away everything about that you identify about yourself. And yeah, it was just incredibly sad. And to listen to what the researchers are doing at Macquarie University, I mean, he was supported by them as well. And the strides that they're making in terms of identifying where the causes of this disease are and mapping it into the gene technologies and stuff and treatments, it's there's a lot of hope out there. And I think with just a little bit of funding and some more funding, then and that's what this is all about, I guess. So you're doing an awesome job, and yeah, well, I guess we want the whole community to get around you.
Well, that's as you both will know, that's what we're blessed with up here is the Blue Mountains community, and this being the fifth year of the Firies Climb. I can't believe it's the fifth year this year. It's gone so quick, considering we did start as a little solo event to try and fill a void, fill a hole, and here we are with hundreds of people involved every year now, and a lot of organising and the teams of people. I'm blessed to have local businesses, i.e. yourself, Summit Gear. Summit Gear's been there from day one, which I'm most grateful for. Running clubs, trainers, coaches, the local mountains community, be it business-wise or involvement, running-wise, climbing-wise, from day dot has been exceptional. The fact that it is getting bigger and bigger each year, that people look forward to doing it each year. I mean, I don't know who would look forward to climbing stairs for 6 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours or even once, whatever distance it be. I find that encouraging that people look forward to that or into that. So yeah, it's exciting. It gets more exciting and gets more inspiring every year.
Well, that's for a great cause.
That's a wonderful cause. Yeah, wonderful cause.
Yeah. And so it is called the Firies Climb for MND, and it's being held at Scenic World as the base or hub. So tell us about the support you've got from New South Wales Fire and Rescue and from Scenic World.
Well, Scenic World are good enough each year to give me let us have the start and the finish line at the main entrance of Scenic World there. And from the top down, from Anthea down to their operational staff, Jason, Axel, Brian, just to name a few, the coordination the behind the scenes stuff that they do for me, that I don't even know they're doing, and they present me with something. Hey, we've organised this and we've organised that. Their support is incredible. Fire and Rescue, the machine of that is Fire and Rescue, are really behind the event. They have been behind the event now for 9 years now. We've got the Commissioner of the Fire Brigade and the Assistant Commissioners and high-level mid-management staff, area commanders all attending this year. We'll have Fire and Rescue staff all over Scenic World on the day, assisting people, helping out with people, talking to people, and just creating an atmosphere here. So I'm blessed to have Fire and Rescue and Scenic World involved, as well as the smaller businesses too. It's without them all, we just couldn't do this.
And I believe you're getting some support from over the Tasman this year. Yep. Tell us a bit about that. That's exciting news.
It is. So we've got a wonderful podcast called Dirt Church Radio, which is primarily it's a trail running podcast, not dissimilar to yours. That's based
well. This is our very first one. They're wildly successful, so I'd say that's a little bit different. Yeah. They kind of know what they're doing. We're just making it up.
I'm sure they start. Yep, they're a well-oiled machine for sure. They are. But Matt and Eugene have been absolutely fabulous in their approach to this. They jumped at the opportunity for this. Unfortunately, Eugene can't make it this year. He's got some issues with an ankle. So Ali Pollager from Squad Run has stepped in. She subbed in for him. So it'll be Matt Raymond and Ali coming over here to enjoy the weekend, conduct a live podcast and rev the kids up and rev the runners up and just get involved. And I think they're doing some laps themselves. And it's going to be a wonderful.
Where's the podcast going to be recorded?
At Scenic World at Eats 270, so which has just been freshly renovated. So As you can see, we've got the mist rolling in here, boys. Can you see that in the background? How good's that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Live,
the
live in the Blue
Blue
Mountains,
Mountains
everyone.
all over.
There's
Beautiful.
that beautiful.
Timber.
Yeah, so that'll be in Eats. So that starts at 7 o'clock. That goes for just over an hour. And
7 o'clock on.
On the Friday night.
Thursday the 29th
Oh,
of
Thursday
August.
night.
So
And is
before
that
we
an
start
open
climbing.
event? Can anyone rock up and?
Anyone can come to that. It's free of charge. I'd like as many people as I can get there
Yep.
to participate in it. You know, we'll be talking all things MND. We'll have Professor Dom there, Matt Prudham, the original South Sydney Tower Climb Firies organiser. It's great to have him on board again. Jane Simpson, who has her own little podcast, another podcaster called Let's Talk MND, and myself, and we'll be talking about the past climb, the future climb, what we want to achieve. Professor Dom will be able to give people an insight into what the disease is and how it affects people and how we can help people and just create more of an awareness for everyone.
Yep. Oh, that's excellent news. What are your goals for this year with the stair climb?
Me, on a personal level, personally and event-wise, we're attempting to raise $100,000 this year. We've raised $75,000 just from the mountains climb over the last 4 years. Sorry, boys, the arm's going numb again. I need one of those stand things, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've raised 75 grand over 4 years. This year we've really upped the ante. We're really sort of pushing it to see if we can raise $100,000 this year. If I can hit 100 grand, I'd be more than ecstatic. I can tell you that.
There's a call out to the trail running community to get behind you and come and join, come and donate. Where's the best place? I mean, we'll post a link on the on the YouTube channel of where they can donate money for this event.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can give you the two. So, I mean, on Facebook, it's just Firies Climb for MND. That's a pretty simple one. Or you can go to firiesclimbformnd.org.au. That'll send you straight to the registration page also if you want to register to participate in the event, or if you just want to donate, or you want to find somebody that you want to donate to, you know, or encourage someone, you can leave messages for them. I think we've got close to 100 individuals registered already this year and nearly 20 teams. It's quite the little event this year. A lot of people are sort of backing each other up. They're doing the 24 in teams of 10 and 12. Some are doing individual. The camaraderie out here sort of after 6 p.m. that night to 6 p.m. in the morning, I think that's where you'll see some special things happen. Actually, I think, you know, where people dig deep, and Scenic World have been good enough to keep the skyway open till late that night, so you'll be able to go for a ride out into the valley in the middle of the dark and see all the headlamps running up and down the Firies Stairs all night, which is really good of them. So that's something pretty cool. You'll be able to buy dinner and get a beverage on arrival and have a ticket on the skyway to be able to do that and enjoy that. So Bluey's Hire have given us a marquee this year, so we got a little bit of respite with some heating in it. So thanks for them. Really grateful for them.
We'll bring some hammocks so you can have a rest in between laps.
And I was just going to say, please don't forget my Summit Gear hammock, please, there, Rob Inshaw.
All right. Well, awesome, Gav. It's amazing what you're doing. Every time this happens, I think, I'm happy to support Gavin. I'll do 6 laps. But the fact that you rock up every year and, 24 hours of laps of further steps, that's impressive. So well done, and we'll see how we go this year. I'll see if I can do more than 6, and we'll see how we go. Yeah,
I'll bring some of Sharon's special frittata too.
Oh, please do, Rob. Everyone, you need to try Rob's Mrs. Frittata. It is the best, I'm telling you.
And your boot was meant to come off last week, so I reckon you're keeping it on for an extra. I think you're keeping it on for an extra week just to get out of doing stairs.
Might be one limpy lap. Yeah, you hear me coming.
On his back.
Awesome, Gav. Thanks for joining,
right,
and we'll catch you around. Cheers.
Thanks for having me. Hope to see everyone there.
All right, see you, Gav.
See you. Bye.
The Summit Gear's wanting to put back into the community of trail running, and as part of that, we've started the Summit Trail Club. And the idea of the Summit Trail Club is just we're gonna do pretty much on a weekly basis, pending any events and moving our schedule around to accommodate events and other activities. But we're going to be doing a long run probably in that 2 to 3 hour span in the Upper Blue Mountains every week. It's going to be open to everyone. All the information will be on the website, the Summit Gear website. There's a tab there that says Summit Trail Club. If you come and join us, come and explore. So the idea is we're going to go and explore different tracks around the Upper Blue Mountains. Maybe tailor it to events, but maybe just go and explore and finding new places to run. That I think a lot of us as athletes sort of in our training, we get stuck on the same sort of runs every time. We've got to do a long run, got to fit it in, you end up running by yourself. So we thought, well, if there's a regular Sunday long run that people can kind of get around, we'll publish all the information, we'll publish how hard the run is, how technical it is, and give people enough information that they can decide for themselves whether this one's for them. But we will try and make it as inclusive as possible. There'll be some hard runs, there'll be some easy runs. But yep, if you're up for a long run on the weekend, then come and join us. So the first one we're doing is on the 25th of August. The details are already on the website. We have the Hounslow event that's happening on the 7th of September, so we thought this is a couple of weeks beforehand, so maybe 20 Ks in the Gross Valley would be awesome. So, Mike, this is your part of the woods, so what do you reckon about this long run? Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so recently the horse track, which goes down into the Gross Valley from basically the top of the Grand Canyon near Evans Lookout, opened up, and for the first time in ages you can do an awesome loop including the Gross Valley. So starting at Perry's Look Down car park, you basically run up a gradual road hill, which is really nice running once you get over the first little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's an awesome bike trail down to Twin Falls Lookout, and you hit the cliff top track and straight away you've got two massive waterfalls, and you're running on the Hounslow 17-kilometre course, heading around towards Govet's Leap. And so the whole loop is basically 20 kilometres with about 1,100 metres of elevation gain.
Yeah.
But the cool part is there's lots of different types of running in there. So, for example, starts with easy road running, a couple hills, and then you got fire trail, and then the cliff top track is undulating stairs.
Yeah.
Not easy running, but not particularly technical.
It's surprising. I did it not that long ago, and just running along that cliff top, how much it actually takes it out of you very quickly. It's harder than you think.
It's not easy to move fast at an easy effort. Yeah, it feels honestly easier at race pace than in training.
Yeah,
which is quite funny. But then once you're going down, I guess, horse track, for people who aren't familiar with horse track, it's virtually a 600 to 650 metre descent into the Gross Valley over about 3 kilometres, and it's a mixture of stairs, which are new, and also some single trail dirt, and then at the bottom it gets a little bit more scrappy, but overall it's not super technical, but it is a solid downhill. And then you basically follow the river all the way through to Acacia Flat, and it's like a really nice, I guess, more runnable on the bottom. And they've recently just got rid of a lot of the, I guess, overgrown bush, which has made it really pleasant the last time I did it a week and a bit ago.
it's just a beautiful single track that sort of weaves its way along the river there, all the way back to Firies.
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
plenty of spots to scope some swimming spots for summer, for sure. If you wanted a quiet one, there's some deep, beautiful, clear spots there, and you're underneath like the cliffs of Lockleys and Fortress the whole time, and it's a pretty unique, I guess, experience. And then the last bit is a bit of a kicker. You got Perry's. So Perry's is in the back end of the Hounslow Marathon course, and that's obviously one of the steeper climbs in the Blue Mountains. Really well formed stairs the whole way up, but you've got probably 620 meters up in 2.5 Ks, and one of those kilometers is about 300 to 350 up. So it's a slow climb, but it's incredibly beautiful, and that's how we're finishing the long run.
Yeah, awesome. And so it's probably in that, depending on your level, like 2.5 to 4 hours, I guess, in that sort of range.
Yeah.
It's 20 Ks, but yeah, definitely probably not if it's your first trail run. I certainly wouldn't think it's the best one, but anyone that's training for Hounslow would be great last hit out before they really start to taper and get ready for race day.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. It's a more experienced trail run for people who feel pretty confident on with climbing and some sort of technicality for sure. Otherwise, it would be a bit of a rude shock, I think. Yeah, but it's incredibly beautiful. One of my favorite spots in the Blue.
So what difficulty rating did we give this one?
We gave it I think effort was 5 out of 5, and technical was like a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, because there is down the horse track. Gets a bit sketchy. At the bottom there, there's a bit. It's not that technical because there's a lot of stairs now. But
it has like tiny bits of shades of Lockleys descent to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit. And yeah, so definitely, as I said, the trail club is really, come join us, come and have a run. We're not. I mean, it's just a group of people going for a run. There's no guiding. It's not, it's self-sufficient. Just come and join us, pair up with some people, and have a nice run for a couple of hours. So look forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah, GPX and everything is on the website. So
GPX is on the website. We've got the elevation gain, the distance. We're going to rate the technical difficulty, and we'll rate the effort, so people can kind of guide themselves and decide whether this is one for them or not. And throughout the year, we'll try and tailor them to different events that are happening, and also then just do different stuff that we haven't really done before. So look forward to exploring a lot of different trails. If you've got some really good recommendations, then leave some comments and put them in the comments, and we'll add them to a list of runs that we're going to do.
Yeah. So as we said, this is going to be a weekly long run on the Sunday morning. But after the first one, which we're putting on as that sort of final sharpener before Hounslow, before the taper starts. But then the following week, we're all going to be over supporting Gavin and the Firies Climb from Motor Neurone, so we won't have a Sunday long run because we'll be running Friday and Saturday, those of us who can run.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're doing 24 hours of hill repeats with Gav and taking plenty of coffee to keep him awake. So, so no long run that week. The following weekend is the Hounslow, so that will be our long run.
Yeah.
Mike, you're in it?
I am. Doing the Mara yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing the Mara. You've got a broken foot, so
take some pictures.
So Rob, you can come and join us, and
I'll shake a cowbell.
Yeah, that's right. And
White man.
Yeah, and then we'll start publishing the runs following that each week on the Summit Gear website.
Yeah, what we'll aim to do is publish maybe 4 to 6 runs ahead, like weeks ahead, so that people can plan their weekends and their training, and that way, if we've got people that are coming up to the Blue Mountains from the city or interstate, they can know, okay, on that weekend, I can do this run on a Sunday morning with a group of people. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we've just got to get the GPX files, so we have to actually run them first. So. It might take us a while to get 4 or 5 runs ahead of the...
it is an aim.
It
is a goal.
It's aspirational for sure. Nice. Awesome.
Mike, did you want to talk about any upcoming track closures that national parks have shared with us?
Yeah. It's if anyone's run up here quite a bit, you know that the trails are always opening and closing and getting fixed, and which is absolutely awesome. I think it's always changing. There's some things which are good news and some things which are bad news at the moment. Federal Pass at the bottom. So if you did go down giant stairs and want to turn right and go Federal Pass up to Furber, that opened up again last week, which is kind of a great thing because, say for example, tonight after work, you can go down and do a really good loop close to town, a couple of minutes from town, and get to run Federal Pass again. It's obviously not open through the landslide section. I'm not sure that'll really open anytime soon. That's with regards to if you want to go do any Hounslow training, the weekends Perry's Look Down Road is open, but typically so most of the time for August during the week, Monday to Friday, they're got it closed, that road in there to access Perry's Look Down, just for basically the road maintenance. Some other spots as well, which I only realised today, was that till late September you won't actually be able to get down and access Empress Falls and Empress Canyon and things like that. So running in Wentworth, you're a little bit more limited. So any of the Valley of the Waters track below the Nature Trail intersection will be closed. And horse track is kind of opening and closing a little bit too. So I would be mindful that if you're keen to go run horse track, to keep an eye on the alerts, because it keeps popping up that that's closed. Same with the Grand Canyon. So they're the ones that
hopefully it's not closed during our run.
No, Sunday will be all good. Midweek closures are happening a lot more there. Yeah.
So those that don't know, that's on the National Parks website. They'll have the alerts.
Yeah, we'll try and keep up to date of key closures that'll impact people as we go every week. Nice.
Yeah, and I guess one more that maybe a travelling runner would maybe perhaps not know is that Fernbower is pretty totaled and probably won't be opening anytime soon, I'd imagine, from the landslides. But the top is now. So the Clifftop Walk above Fernbower, if you're doing the Grand Clifftop Walk, that's open
It's all
again.
open, yeah.
Yeah. Western side of the Solitary Loop is closed as well, but you can still run down basically from Kadumba or from Sublime. You can go up Eastern Solitary. On the top of Solitary is open. Fair few trees down from the recent wind, but it's all open. But yeah, it's the western side that is really closed, so you can still go to
You
Solitary.
just go along the top of Solitary and then turn around and come back.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us on the very first episode of Two Robs and a Mic. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time, and if you've enjoyed the content, like it and subscribe, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.